Did you know you can send an email using Python code? In this video, I will show you step by step how to create an email bot that can send an email from Gmail using Python. To get started, create a Python file and import the SMTP lib and the email.mime package. The SMTP lib package is needed to create the client session object for the email, and the email.mime package is needed for creating email objects. I will also be importing the decouple Python package to import my email username and password into the code more securely. For a video on how to do this, you can check out my TikTok page using the link in the description. After importing the packages, we can now create the contents of the email. The receiver's address variable will be a string value. The email subject variable will also be a string value. For the email content variable, we will need to use 3 quotation marks in the beginning of the string and at the end of the string. This will ensure the email body is in the correct format. Now that we have the contents of the email created, we can create the MIME object. First, we initialize a MIME multipart object and call it message. Next, we access the from parameter of the message object and assign it the Gmail username. In my case, I am using the config to do this, but you can simply use a string value of the Gmail username. We then access the to parameter and assign it to the value of the receiver address variable. And finally, we assign the email subject variable to the subject parameter of the email object. With the MIME object now created, we attach the contents of the email to the message object using the attach method. Now that we have our email object set up, we can create the SMTP session for sending the email. We first initialize an SMTP session object and pass the parameters smtp.gmail.com, 587. We then run the function startTLS and then run the login method using our Gmail credentials. Next, we initialize a variable called text, created by using the asString method on the message object. Finally, we send the email using our Gmail username, the receiver's address, and the text variable we just created, followed by running the quit method to terminate the session. When I run the function, it will send an email from my Gmail account to my Outlook account. Now, let's make things a bit cleaner by placing this code into an email bot class so that we can call this function anywhere in our code. First, we'll create a folder to hold all our classes. We'll also need to create a file called __init__.py so that our code can recognize this folder. We then create an email_bot.py file for the class. Let's add the imports to the class. Then we'll go and create the body for the class, as well as a function called sendEmail. We'll leave the contents of the email, but add the rest of the code to the sendEmail function. We just need to make sure we indent properly so our code executes. Since the contents of our email are in another file, we will add the receiver address, email subject, and email content as parameters for our sendEmail function. This ensures that our function will have the necessary data to execute properly. Now that our email bot class is formatted correctly, let's import it into our Python file. Next, we'll create an instance of the email bot. Then we use the email bot to call the function sendEmail, and we passed 3 variables as parameters for the function. This is how we can use the sendEmail function anywhere in our code, no matter how large our repository becomes. You can also send attachments using this function, with a few modifications. First, let's add an image to our root folder. Next, we need to add 2 additional libraries to our email bot class, the mime.base and the encoders package. Then we need to add another parameter to the sendEmail function that will represent the path to the attachment. We'll create an attachment variable using the open function and passing the file path as a parameter. We then create a MIME base object. Using the setPayload method, we pass the attachment variable as a parameter and then use the read method. Then we encode the MIME base object and add a header. Finally, we attach the MIME base object to the message object. In our Python file, we create a variable called filePath that will hold the string representing the path for the attachment. To get the path, we simply right-click the object and click Copy Relative Path. Then we pass the filePath variable to the sendEmail function. Now, when we execute the program, it will send an email containing the attachment. You can view the full source code made in this video on my GitHub using the link in my bio. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them in the comment section below. If you enjoy this type of content, you can support the channel by giving this video a thumbs up and subscribing.